Dort. This is Lee Dort, and I'm down to dunk. This is Lee Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
I'm Josh Giddey, and I'm down to dunk.
Hey, this is Kenny Hustle, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Darius Baisley, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Mike Muscala, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Poku, and I'm down to dunk.
I love cereal. Captain Crunch, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cracklin' Oat Bran.
Oh, I can have these. I'm going to share with my team, but I'm going to hog most of them.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Wednesdays is my good friend Alex Spears. Alex, what's up?
What's up, Andrew?
Al,
how's it going?
Oh, it's going great, man. You enjoy that Knicks game the other night?
Andrew, I might say that was the best game of the season.
Wow.
Andrew. I mean, if somebody didn't want to watch the Thunder, understandable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Understandable. Not judging them. And they said, just pick out a game for me. I almost feel like that's a better game because you know what SGA is. Like they've seen SGA.
Sure.
They know what Dort is. Like
yeah.
What you really want to see is like how are the young rookies developing, and what better example than that game against the Knicks?
It's the highest of highs there for both and Giddey. Yeah.
You get one of Baze's best games just thrown in as a bonus.
Yeah, Baze was really good too. He's been good. I mean, I don't know what he's going to be in the NBA long term, but he's looked really good over the last 20 games.
So let's start with Giddey.
We got to start with Giddey
because that was the type of game that I was hoping for when SGA got hurt. You know, obviously, bummer that SGA got hurt, but one of the upsides is we're going to get to see Josh Giddey running this team. I thought the only other game where we saw something like this, I know he had a triple-double against Chicago, but the Sacramento game when he was much more aggressive in terms of scoring, that's the only other game where you really saw everything. You saw the passing, you saw the rebounding, you saw the scoring until that Monday night game against the Knicks. And, credit to the Knicks. Their defense is terrible.
Terrible.
Awful. I couldn't believe how bad a Tom Thibodeau defense looked because I was watching it back. Evan Fournier he was a turnstile.
They have some of the worst vibes in the league.
They do. Everyone from the Thunder was just taking their turn, getting by Evan Fournier. But the way Josh Giddey manipulated him, it was almost like in pre-games when you'll see the 6-foot assistant coach working out with a guy and providing some fake defense.
Yep.
Giddey would easily get around him, then just attach him to his hip while he took his time making his decision. He was just toying with him the entire game, which was very fun to watch. He had complete control of the offense. Giddey did.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just the passing, it was that scoring too. And that's the part that really gets you excited. Now, if you look at his shot chart, how much of that do I really trust? He missed every single mid-range shot he took in that game. Mm-hmm. The 2 threes he hit, it's great. Anytime Giddey hits 3, it's great. But as long as his form looks like that, especially on the heat check 3,
deep above the break. And the form was...
He looked
it was unlike anything that I've really seen him do, honestly.
It looked like when a little kid tries to take a 3-pointer, or when I try to take a 3/4 length shot.
Yeah.
So it did. So I'm just not taking away too much from that, but his finishing around the rim, that's the part that gets you really excited because he's getting to the rim in that game, whenever he wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And he was really good finishing both in the half court and in transition. I already trust his finishing. We've talked about guys like Dort, where it's he's a rocket ship anytime he goes to the rim, or Baze when it's I can't do a normal layup. I have to do something fancy or goofy before I get to the rim. Josh just looks so confident when he goes to the rim.
Yeah.
in a different way, but the same way as SGA, where like you just trust SGA around the rim. I trust Josh around the rim.
Mhm.
And that's a good starting point for his scoring.
It's great. I mean, it's honestly, his scoring has been way more than I expected. I mean, if we just take the last 9 games that SGA hasn't played in, like he's averaging 16 points per game, 8.9 boards, 7.2 assists. Like, that's kind of insane. On 46% from the field, which is not bad. Like, that's not bad for the kind of shots that he takes. He's 29% from 3. Like, that's 29% from 3 is indicative of the kind of shooter that he is today.
All I care about with his 3-point shot is that he's taking it. Like,
he's taking 3.5 threes per game.
Like, that's all I care about.
Yeah, I agree.
Right now, because he's already said, like, I'm going to be changing my form in the summer. So, like, I'm not going to like stand for this form. You know, I know there's people out there who want to be like, well, it's going in, so maybe it doesn't look pretty. Like, he already said he wants to change it.
He did. He said he'll wait till the
So
offseason.
don't marry yourself to that form. I would hope it's going to change. The other nice thing, though, thinking ahead for his shooting, because early in the year you could say, okay, I don't like his form, and also he's shooting like 66% from the line, which has been used as an indicator for future efficiency from 3-point range.
Yeah.
In this recent stretch, like, he's picked it up from the line. Like
80%.
since SGA went out, 80% from the line. It's only 25 free throws, but like, I want to see that kind of improvement because that's going to give me more confidence that that shot will develop as we go on.
No doubt. Yeah. And in that stretch, he's leading rookies in scoring, he's leading rookies in rebounds, and he's only second in assists to Ayo Dosunmu.
Wait, Ayo Dosunmu has more assists per game than Josh Giddey in this stretch?
In the last 9 games, Ayo has 7.6 assists per game.
Wow. That's actually more amazing than anything we just talked about. Josh Giddey, I had no idea that Ayo Dosunmu.
And Ayo's been good. He's been really good. And Mark Daigneault talked about how he went to dinner with Ayo here in Oklahoma City. They went to Broadway 10. I was a little disturbed that Mark Daigneault gets his steak medium well. I didn't like hearing that.
I feel like it's a progression you have to make because I think a lot of people, they start out in life thinking, why would I want a rare steak? I'm going to start with well done. Then they move to medium well, maybe in their teens. And then by adult time, you got to be in the medium range.
You
by
got
that point.
medium at least. Yeah. Medium. Medium's great. Medium's like perfect. Like, why don't medium well? Like, I don't know, man. I was a little worried. That made me worried about Mark a little bit, to be clear.
You should encourage him. Try it.
I'd love a chance to encourage him.
Maybe give him some beef tartare, Andrew.
Ooh, yeah, for real. Herb Jones was also at that dinner. And it made me think, why didn't you just use your first 2 second-round picks on those guys? But
yeah,
whatever. You know, Jerry's fine. He's a fine rotation player, but like having those 2 would have been quite nice.
Yeah. But yeah, with Josh, like, I'm just so excited for as long as we get this. It does make me start thinking, I can't help it, about the fit with SGA. Now, we haven't had a lot of time to see it, so it's not like I'm judging it or anything yet. I'm making my final determination. But you watch games like that against the Knicks, and you're like, man, I would just really want Josh Giddey as the primary ball handler.
I know.
Because I know, and also because I know that Shea can do so much else off ball. Like if he was in a more traditional 2-guard role, where he's still doing some of the creation and playmaking, but Giddey is the main guy, like that feels right to me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to imagine them getting to there. Like it feels like most likely scenario is kind of like a 50-50 split in terms of who's running the offense at any given time in the future.
Yeah, it is. But it's also good to have more than one guy because there will be teams, because of Josh's lack of a jumper, that will be able to figure some stuff out with him. And so you need guys with gravity. He needs weapons out there. He's making it work. It's a miracle that he had 12 assists in that game with that team, you know, and I want to see what it looks like with more weapons. Hopefully in this next draft, they're able to get, somebody in that top 4. I think really any of those top 4 guys would be excellent. So yeah, I'm excited for Josh's future. He's exceeded really any expectation that I would have had for him this year. Being as young as he is, I didn't think he'd be able to score the basketball like he has. I didn't think that in any 10-game stretch, looking at this rookie class, that he would ever lead in points per game in any 10-game stretch this season. I would have bet $100 and I would have lost it because he's been that good. And we've talked about how good this rookie class is. Everybody's talked about it. Josh has a real future. And if his shot can come along, like, he is a legitimate all-star type of player with the scoring. The passing is obviously elite. The rebounding is elite for a guard. And then just the vision. And you get him a few weapons that are legit. Like, you can see how the Thunder could become a good team, in the next 3 years because of the stuff that we've seen Josh do.
Yeah, and I think the hard part with Josh is trying to project what he's going to be.
Yeah.
Or project what he could be, what his comp would be, because there really aren't any comps. Like, somebody, a Down to Dunk listener, had messaged us during the game and said, "Is his comp Magic Johnson?" It's not. It's not.
No.
But I do think that's instructive for how few options there are. Because if you go to StatHead and just look at guys who are 6'9" or taller who average 7 assists in a game, it's Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, LeBron James, Jokic, Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, Josh is, or I should have picked 6 because Josh apparently is not at 7 assists yet. That would have been more instructive for this exercise, Andrew. So I lowered to 6.
He's basically there. If they had one offensive weapon that was,
for sure,
he would be there easy.
But even you lowering it to 6, now you bring in KG, Domantas Sabonis, Detlef Schrempf. So many of these guys are bigs, like Jokic, Sabonis, Schrempf. After that, you're talking Magic Johnson and LeBron, who they've been compared to each other. And then it's Ben Simmons. It's very hard. People want to compare him to MCW. MCW is 6'6". There's not a good...
By the way, MCW, not really a very good passer and not a point guard.
Yeah, he is not. Yes, he is not running an offense. He did not run an offense like this.
I mean, the moment he left the Sixers, teams were like, "What do we do with this guy? What position is he? I don't know what he does."
So I get it, why people would, because they're just searching for a name. Who is this guy? Even if you go down to 6'8". Now you're introducing some wings like Tracy McGrady, Grant Hill, who don't really fit with Josh Giddey either. I mean, Scottie Pippen, none of these guys really sound like anything like Josh Giddey. Steven Jackson, Jalen Rose, he's a very hard player to comp.
Yeah,
that archetype, tall lead guard who can pass, just has not existed in the NBA all that much.
Yeah. To me, he's just tall Jason Kidd in a lot of ways.
Tall Jason Kidd. See, I almost think, though, because we talked about tall Ricky Rubio. Yeah. Again, the difference is that Josh has already shown way more interest and assertiveness in trying to score.
Yeah.
Than those two guys.
Yeah. I mean, his rookie stats are not dissimilar from Kidd's rookie stats. And you're right. The assertiveness in scoring is certainly questionable with Jason Kidd. But, Jason, even in his early years, took about the same amount of threes that Josh is taking right now.
Yeah.
And got better. I mean, people in the chat, there's Lamar Odom. Odom was not a primary ball handler. Never was he. He was a big guy that could handle. And he was a good secondary facilitator, but he was never this level. Gordon Hayward is the same thing. Spencer Smith had that one. Parker, I don't know what your name is here down here. Gordon Hayward is also secondary distributor. Like never a guy that they're like, hey, like run the offense. You know,
Yeah.
Gordon Hayward's great in Charlotte when he's healthy, because he can be a guy that you can throw the ball to when LaMelo needs to run off ball.
He's also like much more advanced as a scorer.
Way better scorer, always has been. He was
Yeah.
great at Butler. A like pure shooter. Yeah, I mean,
It's
again,
really tough, which is exciting. Like that's exciting because
yeah, you want guys to break the mold a little bit. You want guys that people are like, I don't know what to do with this, and that's why like both of us really love Chet too, because I think that Chet
Yeah.
will be another guy that's like, I don't know what to do with him. Is he a center? Is he, but he's grabbing the ball off the rim and pushing, he's shooting, he's aggressive, he's skinny as all heck. Like, I mean, you throw him on this team, you can start to, in your head, like figure out ways that the Thunder could get to the 5th seed, and be kind of this weird, wacky force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, Giddey feels like a one of one, and that doesn't mean that he's automatically a Hall of Famer. It doesn't mean he's automatically an All-Star.
Right.
But he is just kind of unique unto himself. Now, maybe that changes. Maybe he develops a 3-point shot, and all of a sudden he starts looking like some of these players that we've talked about. But for right now, that's part of the fun with Giddey is you just can't really easily project him. So many of these young guys, it feels like there's obvious comps, whether they're good or not. There's comps that people have come up with.
Yeah.
So that really excites me about Josh.
Yeah.
And then you got Trey Mann.
Trey Mann,
who that was his best game of the year.
That in the Dallas game. Yeah.
Yeah, that in the Dallas game. But this one got the 30 piece.
You got the 30 piece. Yep.
With Trey, for me, it's a couple things. One, it's the accuracy on his shots. Like we've talked about other guys on this team. They might have games where they go 3 of 6 from 3, but you can guarantee that like one of those shots is going to be like an air ball or is going to like hit the side of the rim. Like you don't really buy it. Like it's great that they hit 3 of 6, but like there's always that one shot that makes you like, oh, okay, I don't know if I should totally.
Yeah, you're like subtweeting like JRE and
Bays and Dort. I mean, Dort will have balls that just bounce off of the rim majestically.
Yeah.
So with Trey, though, he'll have games where he's 3 of 6 and like every miss is like in the cylinder and rims out. And that's what gets you excited because he is the type of player who can make Josh Giddey's life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because he is, or I think he could be that type of shooter down the road.
Yeah, he could be.
And then other than his shooting, like the fact that he does so much other areas of the court. I mean, coming into the draft, I remember afterwards I was feeling very lukewarm on Trey Mann. And we were both kind of like, we sort of get it, but like, what is the reason? And you told me like, I think they just really believe in this step back 3. The step back 3 is like a huge weapon in this league, and they really believe that he can do that. And so I came into the season kind of all focused on that move, on that shot. And what has surprised me is how creative he is as a finisher. I mean, that finish he had over Mitchell Robinson, really like moonballed it over him. Like that takes a lot of skill to be able to do that. And then his ability a lot of guts, and his ability to score in the mid range, which we talked about last week. Like not a lot of guys on this team are really taking those shots.
Yeah.
And
it's Shea only.
Yeah, it's Shea. And so that variety, like he's not just a step back guy.
Yeah.
Like even though, and if you go and look at his percentages from these areas, like it's not good. Like if you look at his percentage at the rim or in the mid range, like they're not there yet. But those games, like the Knicks game, make you believe. It makes you believe like this could be a 3-level score in the league. And then you see smart people. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Steve Jones who said, I think Trey Mann could have a 20-point per game season in the league. Like that's for someone like Steve Jones to say that.
Yeah.
Like, that feels nice.
Worked in the NBA, has seen a lot. Like Steve's very, very good. Very, very like one of the like true knowledgeable guys. Yeah. I mean, that's man, if efficiency is going to be like the make or break thing for Trey,
Yeah,
he's
for
going
sure.
to have to be a more efficient scorer moving forward. And if he can, great. If he can't, like if he's going to be so streaky like he has been, he'll be a guy off the bench that people will continue to try, and he'll have good and bad seasons. But yeah, and I'm not saying like he has to be efficient this year. He doesn't. Rookie seasons are typically extremely inefficient. These guys are still trying to figure out a lot of things. But I did not like the pick at where they got him at 18. I thought it was a reach. I thought that there would be a squeeze of the guard position already. But we were proven wrong. Some of that is that like Teo Maladone is like proven to just not be an NBA guy this season. That's been like a big part of that. And then the other part is that Trey has been outstanding, and he's willing to put in the work too, which a lot of scorers, I don't know, they don't feel like they need to put in the work like that on the defensive end. And Trey really listens. He really tries hard. I'm intrigued. There's still a lot to prove with Trey.
Yeah,
but
I think the
Knicks game was very encouraging.
concern is going back to Fournier. Like, he can't be a Fournier level of defender.
Yeah.
Like, he has to be better than that. And he has some like natural limitations just because of his size right now.
Yeah.
But you do see him fighting game in and game out,
He tries.
especially during this recent stretch. And that's why like I don't really care about the inefficiency right now, because this is the first time he's really been getting these opportunities all season. Back at the beginning of the season, he's playing, 10, 12 minutes a game. Like, how much do you really expect from him? And that's when we were really just focusing on the step back, because he just wasn't getting a ton of opportunities. So I'm just excited to see him start expand his game. And the fact that he's even willing or even thinks to take that kind of a shot over Mitchell Robinson to try to finish that gets me really excited.
Yeah.
Because we talked about his confidence as a potential issue a few weeks ago, but we're seeing a much more confident version of him these last couple weeks now that he's getting more playing time, settling into the offense.
Yeah, I would love to see him play well tonight. Yeah. No, I've been impressed with Trey. I mean, he's also exceeded all expectations for what we thought that he could be this year. He's been a good scorer in spots. He's been really just a fun player to watch too, because the Thunder haven't had a lot of guys like him, at the guard position that are like, he's really smooth, like with the basketball, and can get to his spots. He's been fun. Yeah. Right now, amongst rookie guards, he is 31st in true shooting percentage. Let's see. He's ahead of guys like Josh Giddey and Davion Mitchell, Book Knight, Jalen Suggs. Let's see if any other big names are down here. Sharif Cooper.
Yeah,
Not big name.
I think it's way too early to worry about the efficiency. Like,
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about. Honestly, I don't really worry about anything with either of these guys today. I mean, that's like a year 3 thing. That's like earlier this year when we were getting really worried about Bays, when it's like he just can't be a player in the NBA if he's going to shoot 5 threes a game and hit 27% of them. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, that's when I start getting worried. But for Trey, like, I just want to see the shot selection, like where he's taking the shots on the floor. Mm-hmm.
And I think if you get one more guy, not only is it going to make it easier on Giddey, it's going to make it easier on Trey too. Yeah. Just having like another outlet, somebody you trust. Like right now, it's probably Ty Jerome. Yeah.
Just one more guy the defense cares about.
One more.
Just give me a guy the defense cares about. And that's what these next 2 drafts are going to be about, is like getting, I mean, really in the next 2 drafts, you get one guy, because I am more confident in this Thunder core today than I was at the start of the season. Like I like what they're building, and I think that they've done a good job this season. And if they can add, like, and don't get me wrong, like, they need big pieces. Like, they have big holes right now. Like, they need a true, honestly, they need a true primary score is one thing that they really need. You add a true primary score to this squad, then like you're all like you're getting close to ready. Especially if you can, take picks that you have in trade for players to fill in roles.
That would probably be the argument for Paolo.
That would be the argument for Banchero I mean, if the Thunder get lucky, and at this point getting lucky would be the third pick, like it would be lucky to get the third pick. I still don't think it's a bad position to be in. And it would be kind of fun to debate Ivy and Banchero,
Yeah. I tweeted yesterday that since SGA went out, they have the second ranked defense in the league. Now that's only 9 games, so it's not, not freaking out about it. But still, I was like, wow, that is like kind of amazing because it's not like they've just been playing bad teams. They've had some good teams mixed in there,
sure,
and some good offenses. The Knicks not being one, but I went into it a little bit deeper, and opponent 3-point percentage. So I tweeted out the difference, like pre-SGA going down, teams were shooting 35% from 3. In this recent stretch, they're shooting 29.5%, which as of today is second to last. Boston has had like the best opponent 3-point percentage during this run they've been on. But if you go even deeper, above the break threes have basically been the same. Pre-SGA injury, 33.3%. After SGA injury, 30%. Corner threes, these are opponent corner threes, dropped from 40% to 28.6%. So, like, I don't know. I don't think they're the second best defense in the league is what I'm trying to say. But the fact that they, even when that was normal, even when teams were shooting 40%, this was still a right around a top 10 defense. Like that in and of itself is insane.
Yeah.
Cannot believe it.
It's where you draw another line from the process Sixers to the Thunder, because the process Sixers had a team. Didn't they have a top 10 defense one year?
They may have. Keep talking. I will look it up.
I'm pretty sure they had a top 10 defense one year, and that's where everybody was like, Brett Brown is really getting these guys to play. Everybody believes in them. Everybody believes in the coaching staff. Everybody's given all their effort. I remember that being a talking point. And there's several arguments to be made. One, and I think this is true, is like the coaching staff is doing an outstanding job, and so is the front office, to get the kind of guys that would buy in to play defense like this. The other side of the coin is you have a ton of guys just fighting for their NBA lives, and if they don't do what the coaches say, they might just be gone. There's so many guys like on such low salaries, or if Ty Jerome was just like, yeah, I'm not going to do what the coach says. Like Ty Jerome's not going to play, and they'll probably just waive him. I
can't imagine Ty Jerome ever saying
right. Like Isaiah Roby. If Isaiah Roby went out there and was just freelancing, like Isaiah Roby would be gone.
Right.
And and Kenrich is just like cut from the cloth of a guy that's going to do whatever the coach says and is going to be in the right spot every time. Lou Dort is the same. Darius, it's taken a little bit to get there, but he's there. Like he's been good. And then Poku is obviously like the one that's the most of a work in progress in that area, but has been pretty decent defensively since he's come back too.
So in 2014-15, when they won 18 games, the Sixers had the 13th ranked defense. That was their best finish.
Yeah. Raving about that. Part of me doesn't really quite understand why nobody talks about the Thunder's defense being this high.
Well, this is where, because obviously I can't do this, but if there were a smart guy out there, NBA smart guy, who would want to write an article trying to explain the Thunder's defense, I would enjoy reading that. Just to better understand it, because you can like kind of talk yourself into it. You're like, well, we think Dort's pretty good, and Bays has been really nice. But beyond that, like who's the amazing, awesome defender? Like Kenrich is good. Okay, there's another one.
Yeah, and it's more of just I mean, honestly, it's just the coachability of the team and Mark having a good game plan. And guys like Mark saying, like, this is the spot you need to be in this situation, and you better be there. And they get there. This is how we're going to double team. This is how we're going to defend the pick and roll. This is how we defend the drop. This is how we defend in drop covers. This is how and they all do it. They just follow directions and they just do it. As guys get older, they kind of figure out ways of doing it themselves. James Harden, believe it or not, like James Harden was a pretty good defender in Oklahoma City. Like he was the guy that they would put on Kobe, back in the day.
Yeah.
And would do what the coach said. Now, like James Harden knows that I'm going to make $60 million next year, no matter if I defend or don't. So am I really going to defend on like game 41 in the NBA? I don't have to do that anymore. Like I'm a millionaire basketball player. I make tens of millions of dollars every year. I don't have to defend, so things change through time, but to have this young team doing what they're doing, especially when you compare it to the other young teams of the league and like what they look like defensively. I mean, you look at the Rockets and the Pistons and teams like that who are just kind of a mess on defense. So it's not like every young team does this. So it's encouraging in a lot of ways.
Two more stats that I thought were a little bit interesting comparing OKC with SGA and Giddey to this post SGA 9-game run. I was surprised that the team is taking the same amount of free throws per game, 19.2 versus 19.9. You just would have kind of assumed you take SGA off this team, who is getting to the line, but they've made it work. And then the other one, which is kind of obvious if you think about it, but the team's averaging 3 more assists per game in this post SGA 9-game run, which makes sense because we know that SGA had like one of the highest percentage of unassisted scoring plays last season, and the same because he's such a talented ISO player and on his drive. So that makes sense as well. I don't think it's necessarily like better because they have an extra 3 assists per game. Like I would much rather just take SGA's like incredible scoring prowess.
Yeah, it's similar to back in the day when we talk about the passes per game with the Westbrook Durant teams, where it was like, this team throws like no passes per game. Look at them compared to the Spurs. Like, look at the beautiful basketball over there. Well, when you have Russell Westbrook, who literally attracts the entire defense as he just barrels to the rim because he's going to score and just sprays out, that's one pass on the possession and you get an open 3. You don't need to have 15 passes per possession,
Yeah, that's true.
Like you don't.
I'm thinking about some of those old Spurs players, like some of those lineups. Like there was maybe one guy who like really scared you going to the rim.
Yeah.
Everyone else was just super smart, moving around, kicking the ball. They would find open shots.
Yeah. Boris Diaw. Like Boris Diaw is not going to barrel at the rim.
Ooh, there's a comp. Is that a Giddey comp?
Ooh, young Boris Diaw. No, it's not.
Okay. All right. Well,
it's definitely not. If you can find the perfect Giddey comp, I will send you a Down to Dunk shirt. Like
whoa,
unanimous. Like everybody has to agree amongst the DTD crew. I'll send it out in the text and say, this is the comp. If you get it, you can choose your shirt of choice. And I'll send it.
Ideally, if you could send us some highlights too, because that's the thing, like with the Magic Johnson comp, like if you just look at the rookie stats, it's like, okay, like I understand how these are like kind of similar. Don't
send me Magic Johnson or Larry Bird, okay? Because that's not a comp.
You watch Magic Johnson highlights and it's just like, oh my God, this guy is like so athletic and so...
He started at center in the NBA Finals.
As a rookie. As a 20-year-old. It's not even like he came into the league super late.
Right. And won the title. So don't send me that. Don't do it. You send that, I'm going to actually come to your house and steal one of your shirts.
Oh, no.
Give me your address. I will steal one of your shirts every time you send me the Magic Johnson or Larry Bird comp. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not the comp.
You definitely see like flashes of other point guard, like smaller point guards, with the way that Giddey's just like very methodical.
Yeah.
Like, because he's not bursting to the rim. He's not Russell Westbrook. He's playing a more methodical game. And there's moments where he kind of has like a Chris Paul look to him, just in the way he's moving around the court.
Yeah.
But
He's not Chris Paul.
He's not Chris Paul.
And the thing is, like, you need to get the comp can't be taller blank. Like, that's not a comp because they're not tall. So
I don't know why you volunteer. I don't know why you created this. You're going to get so many things you do not want to look at.
This is true. That's true.
You're going to get some Dion Waiters comps. You'll at least watch those highlight videos when they send them.
I like Dion. I wouldn't mind watching some Dion Waiters comps. It's also maybe the worst comp for Giddey. And also send me your worst comp for Giddey. Best comp. Actually, I might like that better. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. After that, we're gonna update the man, dude, guy rankings here on the show. We'll be right back. And we're back from that quick break. We got Jay in the chat here, riling everybody up, Al.
Oh no, I haven't even looked at the comments.
Yeah, Jay is saying that I hate Josh Giddey. That
Giddey is better than Magic. He can't spell his name right, but he thinks he's better than Magic.
He can spell his name right. He is not spelling his name right. Giddey over Magic. Gosh, if Giddey was better than Magic Johnson.
Oh, shut up! Stop talking.
Then we're set. We're like,
Hey.
why even tank? Why even take? You could forfeit your draft pick this year.
Why even have a pod? Okay, Andrew.
If he was as good as Magic Johnson, we go to 5 days a week. That's what we do.
Before we do Guy Man Dude, OKC Argentina 0. The this is a fan account.
Yeah.
From Argentina.
Okay. Yeah.
They tweeted yesterday, Mundo Deportivo affirms that Micic will leave his team and would play in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Then it says, which franchise owns your NBA rights? I'm guessing that's a translation weird thing. Oklahoma City Thunder, eyeball. And then they followed that up. The news comes from a prestigious Spanish outlet, but there is a possibility that the Thunder transfer his rights to another franchise. I don't think that's possible right now. That the Thunder be the one to acquire the player, or that it is just a rumor and he stays in Europe. So they cover all their bases right there.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to cover all your bases with Micic because of the way that he's behaved toward the NBA over the years. You know, he's flirted with the NBA with the Sixers. He did it last season with the Thunder. This time, I just wonder if it could be real. I don't think he's coming in season. I'll say that. As bad as FS has been this season, I think he's going to finish out the year with them. I don't know. I think it's a possibility. I don't think it makes complete sense. I guess it just depends on what the Thunder. If the Thunder draw the first pick in the draft, then maybe it makes sense. To bring him over.
Yeah, I guess from his perspective,
I don't know.
From his perspective, it's like he could come over now, get like a deck deal where you have like a non-guarantee second and third year. And he would be using that as an opportunity to prove himself as an NBA player at the end of the season with the idea that he would then be traded.
Yeah.
Or do other NBA teams just kind of already like him and his rights already hold some value? I don't feel like they do, but I mean, maybe they do.
I think it probably depends on the team.
Yeah.
I mean, I think certainly, like the Mavericks, like we saw what they gave up to get a guy that's probably not too dissimilar and Spencer Dinwiddie,
Mm-hmm.
Like if Mitch is a Spencer Dinwiddie level of player, like that wouldn't surprise me. Like he's good. Like he's the EuroLeague MVP. He's a really good player. So like a team like that could maybe use him. I think any sort of contending team that needs one more ball handler, I think, even like the Bucks could use a guy like that,
Yeah.
There's some teams that could use him if he's willing to come over and willing to commit. Perhaps that's somebody even at the draft that the Thunder could say like, hey, you don't really fit. There's Hankus. You don't really fit here. And we're trying to rebuild and things aren't, we're going to be bad again this year. So
Right.
and not only that, we want to be bad, and you make us better. Like if you're coming off the bench and leading our second unit with Trey, it's like there's a chance that like it's decent.
Yeah.
And we don't really want that yet. However, and the Thunder are good at this. The Thunder developed a good track record of going to guys and saying, hey, we will get you where you want to go. Like, tell me what the situation is that you want. And even like the Clippers have been a team that could use a guard. They could use another guard, especially when they get all their guys back. It's like, hey, you want to go live in Los Angeles? Like we can put you in Los Angeles, and the Clippers could give like the Thunder like a pick way down the road or something.
It would seem like, though, from OKC's perspective, like I get what you're saying, that he could come here and be, too good. He could hurt the tank. But at the same time, like that's probably the scenario where they actually get something valuable back for him, where he comes in and plays really well in an NBA setting.
Sure.
Other teams notice him, even though they already know who he is, but like they see him in an NBA setting, and all of a sudden he becomes a name that teams want to chase in the summer.
Yeah. I mean, he could accrue more value, or he could lessen his value by playing. I don't know.
And then he just gets a big payout.
Then he just gets the money and goes back to Europe. Yeah, I mean, it's something to keep an eye on. I'll say that. I would not, if you're putting eggs in baskets like you guys were talking a few weeks ago, I wouldn't put any eggs in it.
Zero?
I wouldn't put any.
Not one.
I wouldn't put one egg.
Wow.
In the basket. Maybe if you drop an egg and it breaks, you can throw the shards of the shell in there. But
okay, what about just the general basket of OKC will do some type of a deck deal with someone before the end of the season?
Yeah, I think they will.
Okay. So we're getting another deck.
I think we'll get a deck-like player. I just wouldn't count on it being him. He's the easiest one because they already have his rights, and you can create a scenario where like they could use $10 million US. Like their franchise could use that. They would probably breathe a sigh of relief if the Thunder like bought him out, of his contract at Ephes, and he came over here. I think that because they haven't been good even with him, I think that they could use the financial help. There's a lot of lines to draw there. I will remain skeptical on Micic in the NBA until he signs on the dotted line, because he committed. I mean, there was a report last year that he was done and was coming to the Thunder. Like there was an actual report from a credible news source that that's what was going to happen, and it was another pump fake. So
now what about because they also have the draft rights to one more player. Are you familiar with that player?
Baby Shaq.
39-year-old Szymon Szewczak.
Oh, 39
from Poland. We still have his rights from the 2003 draft.
Could we still bring over Tibor Pleiss? Is that still something that we could do?
We could. I love that. I love when they use the B or like the beta symbol.
Yeah.
For SS.
Yeah.
There's a soccer player for Brighton. His name's Gross, but it looks like Grob on his jersey, and I like that.
Yeah, I would count on them trying to do something. It would make sense for them to do that and to cut into the money that they would be paying out to all the guys. Unfortunately, sorry Thunder players and sorry Thunder player agents.
Well, did you saw the John Hollinger article for The Athletic?
I did.
I thought that was interesting just because he felt like the most like scenario would be that they would just pay it out. Because I think it's because they would have to cut someone to do one of these deck deals, right? Exactly.
As long as they're cutting anybody.
No, that's how I feel too. But I could see from because one of his arguments was like, well, they just gave Aaron Wiggins a deal, so that takes up that roster spot, and then he didn't like follow through on like, well, there's other guys they could.
He even said it on Hollinger said it 2 weeks ago on the pod with me, where he was like, there's there's plenty of other candidates on this team. There's not a lack of candidates to cut. He knows that. And I mean, I would look at Roby, or I mean, they could cut Maladon. There's guys they could let go of in order to bring somebody over. I would be a little surprised if they ended up paying it out. However, I would be happy to see them do it, because I do like this group of guys and think it would be kind of cool for them to get a nice little bonus check. Like, that would be cool. However, there's not a track record for the Thunder doing that. And in fact, the Thunder have had many chances to do this in the course of their history and haven't done it. So that's why I remain completely skeptical that they'll actually do it. Because we thought they were going to do it last year, and then they ended up getting Deck, and it was like, this is kind of weird. But yeah.
That's when we were talking ourselves into Thunder International. Deck was coming over, Micic. We were going to be just this international team.
Thunder International. Poku was still somebody that we believed in. Where are you at on Poku today on February 16th, 2022?
I mean, much more positive than Teo. Like, Teo, he had that really nice game.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere against Toronto. We played 30 minutes, 18 points. That was great.
Yeah.
Every other time I've seen him, like the fact that we're at this point in the season and Mark is only giving him 7 minutes against the Knicks, like that just says a lot to me.
It says a lot. He played well in the G League. Like, give Teo.
Yeah.
Like, it really did. When you compared he and Poku's stat lines, it was like, oh boy. Like, Poku,
but it has flipped since they've come back. Like, Poku just looks like the much more comfortable player. And
it's the flip that you want, because Teo is a guard and a guard only. Poku is just like this weird player, similar to the conversation we were having earlier about Giddey and Chet. Like, just having another player that's just like, what are you? Like, what are you doing here on the basketball court? Like, you're blocking shots and you're, pulling the ball off the rim and taking 3 dribbles, and you're already at the other end. You got these like scoop layups. You can, he shot the ball pretty well from deep recently. If he can put it all together somehow, like, he may not be a star, but if he's a guy off the bench that can do all that stuff, if like he and Baisley are like the bigs off the bench for the Thunder in the future, like, that's like kind of fun, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not ready to believe in that, but that'd be fun.
No, but it would be incredibly fun. It would just be incredibly fun if Poku became a good player, like on a playoff team.
Oh, for sure.
He's a fun player to root for, and I would love to see him become just even a decent like role player. Would be incredible.
Yeah, watching that game. He didn't really do that much, but I was just thinking about Derek Favors, because at one point in the game he was running a pick and roll where Poku was the ball handler, and part of me wants to, at the end of the season or whenever Favors leaves, I would just like to get his thoughts on some of these players, like what he really thinks about them, because I just have a feeling like it will be similar to players we've had in the past who have been like, SGA is a star, like I love Giddey and all that, but I really want to know what Derek Favors thinks of Alexei Pokusevski. Just to know that his career has gotten to the point where he's running pick and roll with this like 7-foot string bean who's like dribbling behind his back. It's just very fun.
I thought my preseason interviews with everybody was just quite telling on what everybody thought of Poku, because
he's a very Poku's Poku guy. Like,
oh my god,
yeah, Poku's Poku.
Yeah, well, Poku, really talented young guy. I mean, that's probably the kind of stuff they would say. I would have to ask them about Poku. I would ask, like, who's playing well this summer? How are things going? You guys having fun with the team? Everybody's talking about Isaiah Roby and everybody else is like, what about Poku? And he's like, yeah. It always would start with like some kind of like, okay, Poku. Yeah. All right, man, dude, guy. You want to update the rankings here? One qualifier. It is really difficult to tell who's a man, dude, or guy during a rebuild, because these guys are getting opportunities that they wouldn't get elsewhere. And so a lot of these rankings are based on what I think. If you're a guy, you can be on a playoff team. So that's where there's going to be, you may be upset with some of my thoughts on this. But in order to be a guy, so let's go over it real quick. A guy is a guy that can play on a playoff team. A dude is probably on a playoff team, a bench guy, or maybe a guy that can play like 8 minutes a game, on a playoff team.
I feel like Abdul Nader was a dude.
Yeah, Nader was a dude and was like a dude on that Suns team. Yeah, it's fine. And then a man is just like you're in the league, but we're still trying to figure out what's going on with you.
So, oh wow, I did not realize that's what man stood for. I thought it was the opposite. I thought it was like we already know what this guy is. He's in the league. Like a Derek Favors isn't you wouldn't call him a guy.
Not a guy.
He feels like a man, but I'm not saying that in a negative way.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you're a man. It's all right. Okay, here we go. Definitive guys on the team. Like it has to Dort is a total guy, right?
Yeah, so you can't. There's no higher plane than guy.
I mean, what's the higher plane than guy?
I don't know. It just feels like there should be some way to differentiate between like SGA and Giddey versus Dort, but it sounds like they're all going to be guys.
I agree with you that a guy is more of like established role player. I think that you could say that. I mean, is there like a star level above that?
Maybe. Just go through your rankings. We can debate how it's structured later.
Okay. So the guys on this team, Dort, SGA, Giddey, like those are the guys that I believe would play on almost any playoff team, whether as a top 8 rotation guy. Mm-hmm. These guys would play. Do you disagree?
No.
I would also add Kenrich Williams to this list.
Yes.
And the real debate in my head currently is Darius Bazley. I'm not quite ready to declare him there yet.
Oh, no.
I don't know that he plays significant minutes on like almost every playoff team. But I believe in that that group of 4. Like I believe in that group.
No, that's why Baze's next season, I think, is much more exciting now to think about. Because if he puts what he's done in these last, I think it was like the middle of December when they moved him to the bench. Yeah. So it's probably been about a month and a half stretch. If he does what he's doing right now over an entire season with an influx of talent, which is also going to take away some of his usage, like that's when I'll be ready to say like, okay, I believe it for sure. Like, yes, Baze is getting his next contract here. He's going to be a part of this team. But yeah, I'm not there yet. In the same,
let us know if you disagree. You can send me your argument. I will not.
Yeah, for sure. Like
thing, but I think that really those 4 are the ones that I believe in the most.
Like clearly, I overreacted to his play early in the season, and
you did not though. You did not overreact.
Well, I thought he was like done. I was like,
if he continued to play like that, he was. That's why I don't think you overreacted. He has changed a lot.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think that you or anybody else overreacted to it because he was playing so poorly, shooting the ball poorly. He's been a much better defender recently. And I think to predict that he was just going to change and turn and become what he is today, I think is a little bit foolish, honestly. And he's proven everybody that doubted him wrong. That's great. A lot of guys that are drafted in the 20s don't do that. Like a vast majority of them don't do it. They don't make it. They don't make that. They don't turn the corner. So,
Yeah, well, I was just saying, like, if you do think I overreacted, that's why I don't want to now overreact the other way just because he's played well for a month and a half.
Exactly. Because things could change again for him. I think that similar to like Terrence Ferguson. I think there were times that we were like all in on Ferguson. You know,
for sure.
being a rotation player in the NBA and being a guy. You know, I'm sure I even said it on Twitter, and that's why I'm just being more cautious with this than I used to be.
Trying to make it more prestigious to get guy status.
Yes.
You want it to mean something.
Yes, it has to mean something, because if everybody's a guy, then nobody's a guy.
Wow. Put that on a shirt.
I got Baisley as a dude.
Yeah.
I have JRE as a dude.
Okay.
I have Muscala is a dude.
Okay. You're really struggling with this.
Just because I don't think that you can play Mike big minutes.
Sure.
And that has been said in many different ways from Coach Mark, that like, yeah, he's been great in his time. I mean, I asked him about like the plus minus numbers with Muscala. And he's like, well, like he doesn't believe in those plus minus numbers. Like, he made that pretty clear.
He's probably a good argument against using per 36 ever, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Per 36, he's putting up 21 and 8, shooting 43% on 10 3-pointers per game. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's an all-star.
Just play him 36 minutes.
That's an all-star. Okay. Where are you on Aaron Wiggins?
Dude, I don't feel like dude is a very big commitment.
Yeah. I like Aaron Wiggins too. And Trey Mann is a dude currently as well.
Tettle dad.
Anybody else that I'm overlooking on the dude list? Is Derek Favors? Does he get there? Is he a guy that's going to play 10 minutes in a playoff game for a team?
Like, I think there's teams where he would. Like, I think with the Sixers, now that they lost Drummond, I don't think he'd be excited about Favors, but he could give them 8 minutes in a playoff game.
He could do that. Yeah, this is where a lot of these guys are going to land. What do we do with Poku?
Poku, he's whatever's below a dude.
I know. He's still okay. So our man list.
See, I think this is my overarching philosophy about this ranking. I think certain guys should graduate out of it. So like this ranking is only for guys who you are projecting for. Like no one's projecting Derek Favors anymore. He should be exempt from the list because he just is what he is. Like there's no one saying like, oh, I think if Derek Favors did this, like maybe he could become that. Like we're done with that part of his career.
Okay,
he is what he is.
You think that Favors and Muscala should just be off the list?
Yeah, they're just vets at this point. They've already proven themselves as what they are.
Yeah, but what kind of vets are they? Are they guys or are they dudes?
See, I would argue SGA isn't a dude. He's graduated.
He's a guy.
He's beyond that. No, I'm saying he's beyond a guy. It's over.
What's the next level? What's the graduated level?
It's just like an NBA player. Like you don't even have to think about it.
That's what a guy is an NBA player.
No. See, I think a guy should just be, in terms of projecting, like you see a guy in his first or second year, and based on limited data, you say, ooh, that's a guy. That is a guy right there.
Yeah.
And then if he becomes like the player you envision him to be, he graduates out. He's because he's become his full self.
Yeah, but you have to like reach a stat. Like you have to reach a status and stay there for a little while. Like how long do you have to stay there to completely graduate out?
Like if SGA made the All-Star game next year, like he's not a guy.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that.
You know what he is? He is him.
Him. That's what it is. I've been trying to find it. That's it.
But hold on though. Derek Favors is not him.
No, that's why I leave Derek Favors as a dude. Okay? I disagree with you that you have to take him off the list. He's a dude.
I would say let Derek Favors rest.
I say
he doesn't need to be talked about in this way anymore.
Disagree.
He's earned his stripes.
Okay, so here's the list. Here's the list now. I think that's perfect. I was trying to find it and we found it. You helped me find it. Him is like the guy, the level above guy. I am him. That's something that SJ even said.
He did say
after he made a shot. So I think SGA is probably our only guy in the him level.
Oh, you can't say only guy in the him level. He's the only him.
Player. The only player in the him level. Okay. All right. This is good. I really like this.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm really, really excited.
Yeah, this is super helpful for people.
It is. For me, I don't care. This is just for me. All right. I think Ty Jerome is a man. I don't believe that he would play on a lot of playoff teams. I think he shot the ball well. He's been like a pretty good like secondary ball handler guy. But I'm not the biggest believer that he can hold up as a defender for a playoff team. Like, name me a playoff team where you'd be like, oh yeah, Ty Jerome's playing 15 minutes on that team. Like, I just don't think that exists.
It may not, but I do think he'd be helpful to other teams like the Knicks.
Well, the Knicks suck. Like, they just need anybody.
Right. Yeah. But he's definitely an NBA player. Like, I think he will stick in the league. I don't think this is going to be Ty Jerome's last stop in the league.
No, it's not.
He'll get something else.
But name me a playoff team that he could play on where he's in the rotation.
I mean, the only one, and it was just because of injuries and trades, like the Bucks, like he could be their Bryn Forbes.
Yeah.
With DiVincenzo gone, Connaughton hurt.
Yeah, I still am a little skeptical. But maybe. Yeah. You think he should be a dude then?
So man is just being a man. I almost feel like I want to be a man.
Don't want to be a man. No.
Wow.
Poku, Ty Jerome,
counterintuitive.
bit crutchy. It is a little counterintuitive, certainly. Roby is here.
Yeah.
You know, Lindy Waters, if you want to include him now.
Yeah, I hope we get to see a little bit more of.
I'd love to watch Lindy Waters shoot like 7 threes tonight.
I was gonna say, talking about the tank race, like you obviously can't really be mad at that game against the Knicks because it was their 2 first-round picks just dominating, and those are the games that should make you feel great about the future of this team. But if you were going to complain, it would be because Kenrich is playing 27 minutes and Derek Favors is playing 21 minutes. It does feel Ty Jerome playing 19 minutes. Like it seems like they're already responding to that Knicks game with today's inactive list for the Spurs game.
It does. It feels like some levers are being pulled currently.
Like a quick response.
Like we cannot lose to the Spurs. We cannot beat the Spurs tonight at home. We just can't do it.
We could. We might, Andrew.
They still could. Okay. Full rankings. Man. Poku, Ty Jerome, Vic Krejci, Roby, Lindy Waters. Dude, second level. And to define, like, a man is like you're in the NBA, great, good job, man. Dude, guys that could on a playoff team play in a pinch, like play a little bit of minutes here. Baisley, JRE, Muscala, Wiggins, Trey Mann, Derek Favors. Guy firmly in a playoff rotation, would play for almost every single playoff team. Dort, Giddey, Kenrich, and then him. The him list is SGA.
The him list.
Hopefully Giddey will be him. Hopefully they will draft another him.
That would be great. 3 hims on one team. Oh my gosh.
We've had it before. It's happened before here in Oklahoma City. But yeah. All right. That's the list. That's the update. If you want to know if somebody's a guy, they're not. They're not. Dort, Giddey, Kenrich. That's your guy list currently. If you disagree, let me know. If you're totally confused by this, I'm sorry.
Just ramp it up to 2 times speed. It'll make more sense.
That's right. Or half speed. Either way. All right. Anything else before we go, Al?
Oh, I don't think so. Spurs game tonight. I really want the Spurs to make the 10th seed because I think it would be very, very funny if they beat out the Pelicans and the Kings, who both made huge moves at the deadline. That would make me laugh a lot.
Poor Pels. Poor Kings. Yeah, I know. It's possible. they still have good players. Like they thinned out their depth a little bit, but they still are good players.
And if you look at like remaining strength of schedule, like the Pels are still have a top 10 remaining strength of schedule. Sacramento's at 6, San Antonio down at 18th. Here we go, Spurs. Go Spurs, go.
Spurs, go. Get your win tonight in Oklahoma City. Yeah. You're gonna watch any of the All-Star festivities?
Is that this week?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
It's this weekend.
Jeez. I didn't realize it was so soon.
Yeah. Without a doubt. Saturday night.
Yeah, I will definitely be watching.
You're gonna watch Josh Giddey. He's gonna be in the skills competition.
That's actually the most exciting part, just because they're doing the teams. I like that they have the Antetokounmpo brothers, and then they have the rookies. We'll get to see what it would have looked like if OKC had leveraged everything and had drafted Cade, Scotty, and Josh Giddey.
Gosh, wouldn't that be fun? It'd be an outrageously fun team. That would be so good. Yeah, I like All-Star just fine. I am excited for a little break, to be honest. So.
Oh, good for you. Sorry it's so tough following your favorite sport, Andrew.
No. It's not.
No.
Looking forward to it. It's going to be great. It's going to be good. Especially, I don't need to share this, but I've had several weeks that have just been horrific in my home with sickness. So to have a break that doesn't include everybody being sick.
Yep. People be puking.
People be puking. Thanks so much for listening to our show. Thanks for tuning in on the stream. We had a good showing on the stream today. Way to go, guys.
Way to go.
Poppin'. Travis Cagle. Travis, I haven't seen you on the stream in a while. Thanks for joining. Frank Turman, Way Johnson 1, Phil Zoff, Daniel, Ziggs Inside 2020, Tyler Nevins, Wes Greg, Hoopstock 69, Twice God, T Dot, Bill Larson. Got some good combos going on the stream. I ain't gonna lie, so tell me why. Simon Shin, Daniel Tomasi, Jay Smith says that Magic plus Bird equals gaudy. I don't know if that was an intentional. Is that an intentional typo? Rogthor is here. James Anderson, Ben _ White Black, Andres Gorgu is here. TTAM12 is here as well. Dave Perrick, Parker. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com, search Down to Dunk, hit subscribe. Be great. Jake Arndt, Alex Bullerjack, No Limit. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Trey Brown. And we will talk to you guys again on Friday.